Before I get into the nitty-gritty of the video, let me start off by saying this topic is intended for new players who have not played any of the Mana games, or for potential players who are looking for more information about how Trials of Mana plays. I won't be going over the best classes or tips on the game, just general gameplay mechanics and progression systems. When selecting new game, you get to select a difficulty from beginner to hard, which will affect how strong enemies are. Though from my experience, the game wasn't too difficult even on the hardest difficulty. Afterwards, you select your party of 3 for the entire game, out of a pool of 6 characters. Each character is unique and have different roles. Angela is the mage, Charlotte is the healer, and the rest fills the other roles as tanks, supports, and DPS. The first selected character will be the hero of the story, and thus is the focal point. Each character will offer different dialogue for their playthroughs, but the story is linear and doesn't offer much changes from that, though the endgame antagonist will depend on which character you selected as your main. There are a total of 3 antagonists and 6 characters, so there will be some characters who share the same antagonist as others. I recommend selecting a companion that has the same antagonist as the main character to reduce the number of playthroughs you need to see the whole story. The pairs that share the same antagonists are Reese and Hawkeye, Angela and Duran, and Kevin and Charlotte. Trials of Mana is an action RPG, so everything happens in real time. Only one character can be controlled at once, with the other allies being controlled by the AI. Unlike the Secret of Mana remake and the classic Trials of Mana, there is no couch co-op available. However, it's possible to switch to other allies outside of towns. The world is an open sandbox, though the only thing to really do outside of main story progression is to find little cactus hiding in different levels. Special rewards will be given for every 5 increments when you find him. When you find it all 50 times, you'll receive that last reward. As you journey on your quest, there will be monsters along the path. Getting close to them will cause combat to occur in an enclosed space. An invisible border will be placed around this space, restricting where you can go while in combat. If you want to run away, you have to run against the border for a certain amount of time, which will disengage the enemy. When fighting enemies, there are various combos that can be done by stringing together a series of regular attacks and ending with a power attack. The max combo in the beginning is 3, but longer combos can be unlocked later. Characters also have an air combo for flying enemies, which is nice. Each time a character lands an attack, the enemy will drop a crystal. Picking these up will build a special gauge called the CS gauge, which is used for special attacks. Stronger special attacks can also be unlocked later in the game. There is also a dodge button for avoiding enemy attacks, which are telegraphed if they are casting a spell or using a skill, giving you ample time to dodge, though some telegraphs will also lock in on you for a certain amount of time. Your own skills have strong homing properties though, and will typically not miss unless the enemy likes to move around a lot. Up to 4 skills can also be set to a shortcut using R1 and the 4 face buttons, allowing for quicker access. After combat ends, bonus experience can be rewarded at the end, depending on how well you did. Slightly more experience will be given based on how fast you cleared a fight and if you did so without getting hit, making it pretty easy to level up. Item usage is a bit different from other games in that only a limited number of items can be used in battle. Mana games typically use a ring menu to access items and spells. Only 12 items can be assigned to the ring at once, and each item on the ring menu will have its quantity capped at 9 per combat encounter. Outside of combat, there isn't a quantity cap, however, items can only be used if they're assigned to the ring menu. That's the basics of gameplay, so let's move on to progression. There are 2 types of progression: ability progression and class progression. Let's start with ability progression. Each time a character levels up, they will get a certain amount of training points to be put in one of 5 stats. These are strength, stamina, intelligence, spirit, and luck. Once enough points have been invested in a stat, they can unlock an ability that's shown in the table on the right. Some of these abilities are spells, but requires a mana spirit, which is obtained through story progression. Abilities that are not spells have to be equipped by the character in order to be effective. Each character starts with 2 slots for abilities, so the options are pretty limited in the beginning. There are also abilities called chain abilities that can be used by everyone once it's unlocked. In addition, chain abilities can be unlocked by talking to certain NPCs or progressing in the main story. One other thing to keep in mind is that stats are also capped at 6 in the beginning. These caps will be increased once a class change happens, then the character's true potential will be unlocked. Class changes will increase a character's CS gauge capacity, combo limit, ability slots, stat limits, and unlock new abilities that can be learned as well. Each time a class change happens, there will be 2 different classes to select from, a light class and a dark class, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. They will also come with a unique passive and special attack to further differentiate their roles. Classes can also be reset in case you change your mind about your choice, but it does require a special item that's found in the endgame dungeons. A character's class can be upgraded 3 times at different points in the game, once at level 18, once at level 38, and once after clearing the game. At level 38, a unique item is required to change their class, which can be found from unknown seeds, or seeds with the triple question marks. These seeds can be found from enemies and chests in the endgame dungeons. Seeds are cultivated in a pot that can be found in any inn, and there are a variety of seeds that give different things. The 5 types of seeds are regular item seeds, silver seeds, gold seeds, rainbow seeds, and unknown seeds. Item, silver, and gold seeds will have consumables and accessories in their loot tables. Gold and rainbow seeds will have gear in their loot tables. And unknown seeds will always give a class change item. The pot will also have a level that increases as more seeds are grown. Each level will increase the chance of enemies dropping seeds as well as getting rarer items from cultivating seeds, and maxes out at level 5. So that covers the basics of Trials of Mana. Hopefully this has given you a better idea of what gameplay is like and what to expect. If this piques your interest in the game, be sure to give the demo a try, which gives a very good idea of how the game plays. Be sure to check out my review too if you haven't seen it to check out my thoughts on the remake.